Hello, this is just a human being, and this is my queer story. For the longest time I could remember, I was always aware of the LGBTQIA plus community. However, it wasn't talked about very much. I remember as a very young kid always seeing these couples made up of a man and a woman, and my brain would always wonder, is it possible for a man and a man or a woman and a woman to be a couple? I eventually did get my answer to that question. Two notable experiences particularly stand out to me. Um, I found out that my dad's old work boss, who was a man, had a husband. Then, when I was in the second grade, my music teacher, who was a woman, told us that she had a wife. I remember feeling a sense of wonder that these couples existed at the time. I then learned that the term that was used for these people was gay. I remember a lot of the kids at my school would make immature gay jokes, and like it just rubbed me the wrong way even then. Now let us fast forward a few years to the beginning of middle school. This was when I learned that there were also some people who did not identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, and there were also people who did not identify with any of the traditional genders at all. And I learned that these people were known as transgender and non binary. Unfortunately, I saw people at my middle school also making the same immature jokes about them, and it just sucked. Now let us pivot to my own experiences. When I was in sixth grade, I started to feel attracted to girls, and this initially freaked me out a lot. Then I talked to my dad about it, and he said that it was perfectly normal because I was at that age when like puberty was happening and everything. Um, but then something else happened. Like it started to happen with boys, and it took me a few years to completely accept and process that. Um, and it didn't really help that I was just starting to become aware that there was a lot of like hatred towards the community. So, yeah. Then all of a sudden, we all know what happened. COVID. The world completely shut down. And I remember my seventh grade year was completely online and everything. However, something else happened as well. During one of the online meetings I had with, one of my teachers, she told us that she was bisexual, and she explained to us what that meant. And then I remember it was at that moment that I started to wonder if I possibly was bisexual as well. Then in the summer between seventh and eighth grade, we moved across the country, and I could immediately tell that the place we moved to was just, way more accepting of the community, and it felt safer there, if that makes sense. Uh, then, when I started eighth grade, I was enrolled in a class called US History, and my teacher in that class told us that he was gay. And I was just struck with the sense of awe that he was able to be so open about it and he was receiving support and everything. And even my teacher back in where I used to live was bisexual. She was open about it, received support too. And it took me another like whole year basically to like actually completely process and everything. Then, at the beginning of freshman year of high school, I accepted myself and officially just came out as bisexual. And it just felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like it was wow. And I remember at first I only told like close friends and only those who were like queer because I knew they would be supportive. Like yeah. And I received obviously lots of support, lots of encouragement, guidance from them, and that gave me a sense of confidence and hope too. Then, after a couple more months passed, I decided to tell my parents, but this was super scary for me because I did not know how they would react at all. And I ended up telling my dad first, and he turned out to be accepting. And a few days later, I told my mom, and she was accepting as well. And I felt a massive wave of relief after that, too. Having two of the most important people in your life be accepting of your sexuality is like, I cannot describe that feeling. It is amazing. And also, my sister found out later on, and she was accepting too. Um, but the story is not done yet. And this is because over the few years when I was questioning my sexuality, a part of me also started to question my gender identity. And the truth is, I've been raised as a boy my whole life, never had any problems with it. But that's when I actually started to have second thoughts during that time. And I later learned that these were gender identity crises that I was experiencing. I started to question whether I was trans, whether I was non-binary, desperate to like find a term that described my experiences that worked for me. And this actually takes us to just a few months ago when I stumbled upon the term demi boy. And it basically explained how I was feeling perfectly, but I still questioned it for a few months after. Then, actually, this happened just a few days ago. I I accepted myself again, and now also identify as a demi boy. So that is my queer story. I know for a fact that my journey is far from over. I may discover more things about myself, but this is where things stand now. Um, Also, for any queer people watching out there, you are not alone. You are loved. You are supported. And I will forever support all queer people. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my story.